Housing.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning. Is Kelly with you?
Kelly is not here today.
What?
I know.
Did you pretend she's there?
She was suspended for being Kelly Jackson. No, she's working over on the TV side today.
Oh,
Yes.
Instead of slumming it with you.
Instead
I
of
understand.
slumming it on the radio, yes.
Yeah.
Are you over the blowout or the
No.
Julius Familia
No,
loss?
no,
Okay.
I'm not.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not over the familiar sense of disappointment.
I think...
Not at all. Look, I take it this way. I'm a guy, like, if my team makes it to the World Series or the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup or the NBA championship, I could actually feel good about that for a few years. And actually I want them to win. I want them to go back and win.
Sure.
But, I understand, there are a lot of other teams and millions of other fans, and they want to see their teams there, and I think it's special to be there. And sure, it stings that they lost last year in the style in which they lost. They had all those leads, and then they blew it.
Right.
But at least my good college friend has a World Series ring because he's the video coordinator for the Kansas City Royals. And in the meantime, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they make a trade. Is it even worth the trade at this point? They are only, I don't know, they're 2 or 3 games out of the wild card. I don't know, McGraw. I can't be bothered. There's real life happening.
Yes, because the Dallas Cowboys training camp is about to get underway.
Yeah, that's true. I want to tell you something that last night I witnessed a diverse group of morally bankrupt people led by a cold and calculating, remorseless woman unite to defeat evil, McGraw.
How did, what?
I saw Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, good. Fair enough. All right, let's move on because we've got movies to talk about. There's 2 movies. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Jason Bourne.
All right.
Because so many people are excited about this movie. I certainly was excited about it. It's Matt Damon reuniting with Paul Greengrass, who did the last 2 Jason Bourne movies with Matt Damon. And Paul Greengrass is a terrific director. Very few people better at doing that shaky camera action. He's practically the grandfather of perfecting that art. So good at it, and so he's going to bring it. The problem with this movie, and I hate to say there's a problem because I wanted this to be good so badly, is that the story just kind of stinks. It's not that good. It's very, very forced. Julia Stiles, who's an actress who I love, I think she plays a part of this. You remember she was in previous movies, and she actually is sort of the catalyst for the action of this film. And when there's just an exchange between the two of them, it's as if they were rehearsing their lines with no emotion, nothing. It was like it was just very strange. And then something happens and you feel nothing. And that's my problem with this movie. I felt nothing throughout this movie. I was excited by the action sequences because they were coordinated and choreographed really well. But the payoff for each action sequence wasn't really that great because I didn't really care about the characters. I really didn't even care about Jason Bourne. And that tells you just that this is a poor script and a bad story. It's almost worth it for the action sequences. They're really terrific. So I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. But ultimately, a disappointment for a Jason Bourne movie.
That's the way I thought about the first one, which is why I haven't watched the last 7. But whatever. All right.
Last 7.
Bad Moms. Quickly, what do we know about that? What's that one?
Bad Moms, Mila Kunis is playing a mother who feels like she's stretched thin under a lot of pressure, feels like she's kind of failing at her job, like so many other moms these days, especially all the mommy bloggers and all the moms groups on Facebook. I mean, it could really do a lot for your self-esteem. She's having problems with her marriage. She's suddenly a single mom raising both her kids and feels like she's under too much pressure, quits the PTA in a very public way. Christina Applegate, who I think you're a fan of Christina Applegate.
I don't mind her. Yeah, no, I like her. She's fine.
Yeah, but she's the head of the PTA, and she's a terrible person. And then she makes enemies with her, but Mila Kunis decides she's going to be a bad mom and not as responsible, and she becomes buddies with a character played by Kristen Bell, another one played by Kathryn Hahn. Kathryn Hahn steals this movie. It's a hard R movie. It's super dirty, and it could have been so much funnier. The problem here is this is a movie about women. About something like a very feminine issue, and it's written by 2 guys and directed by those same 2 guys. Happens to be the 2 guys who wrote all the Hangover movies, and this almost feels like The Hangover, just with women, although they didn't account for the fact that they were writing for women. It's like they wrote these parts for men, not women, and it doesn't really work nearly as well as it should have. There's a female point of view that can also be dirty, but this is a female point of view that's dirty from a male perspective, and it doesn't quite work. There's still funny moments, but it could have been so much funnier, like a Bridesmaids. Like Bridesmaids was written by Annie Mamullo and Kristen Wiig. Annie Mamullo, who happens to be in this movie, and that movie does the dirty female perspective better than any comedy ever, I think. And it would have been nice to see that here. So 2.5 out of 5 stars.
And next week you're going to tell us about Margot Robbie and Suicide Squad?
I sure am.
Give us a.
You should just give you a taste. It's watching Margot Robbie and Suicide Squad is pretty much exactly how you would think watching Margot Robbie and Suicide Squad would be.
All right, fair enough. So Virginia Corninghouse grows up and becomes president of the PTA in Bad Moms. David Blaskin, have yourself a good week. Thanks for checking in.
Take care. Bye-bye.